Okay, now that we've practiced and got the story down some, we're going to go ahead and make a recording that we're going to use to manipulate and do some voice changes and stuff, so that we'll have a better narration project for the books that we're going to be sending up. Now, we'll go ahead and choose this. We'll go ahead and start another deal to create. Alright. So now here we have our two boxes again. Now what we're going to want to do is a little bit more technical, but we'll figure out how many different characters we have in the passage we're reading, and you'll count the narrator as one as well. And so you'll add some more blocks for each one. So we'll have the narrator, we'll have these two characters, and I believe there's one more. So we'll create that too. And it seems a little choppier at first, but it works out because when we go to play it, it'll do them all together, one right after another, and in certain places it'll insert them as we record them. So we just have to keep track of these, and the first one we'll start with. Go up here, we'll turn these down. We're not going to be playing right away, but just for the sake of doing this, we have this up. Alright. What had I better do, she cried. Pause. Alright, so this is going to be something that's spoken by Stuart Little's mother. And I don't believe I did that right, because I think I added in she cried. We'll go ahead and see what we did. What had I better do, she cried. Yep. So, edit, undo recording, that fast. So, even if we do mess up, it's not hard to go ahead and just fix it by getting rid of what we just did and doing it piece by piece. So, let's try it one more time. What had I better do? Alright, we'll go to the narrator. Nope, I don't want to do that. I want to keep it right. Alright. She cried, trying to keep the tears back. Over here will be the dad. If I were you, said George, I should bend a hairpin in the shape of a fish hook and tie it onto a piece of string and try and fish the ring out with it. Alright. So Mrs. Little found a piece of string and a hairpin, and for about a half hour she fished for the ring. But it was dark down the drain, and the hook always seemed to catch on something before she could get down to where the ring was. What luck! Now you see this is kind of back and forth and patchy, but we'll see where we're going with this here in a minute. Inquired Mr. Little, coming to the bathroom. No luck at all. said Mrs. Little. The ring is so far down I can't fish it up. Why don't we send Stuart down after it? Suggested Mr. Little. How about it, Stuart? Would you like to try? And then down here for Stuart, give him a recording. Yes, I would. Stuart replied. But I think I better get into my old pants. I imagine it's wet down there. Okay, now that did seem a little choppy, but it gives us an opportunity to practice each section, separate narration from dialogue, and it allows us to get used to using different tones and intonations in that, and this will also help us with our fluency. But as we go all the way back to the very beginning, we can play this out, and at this point we'll turn all these up. And here we go. What had I better do? She cried, trying to keep the tears back. If I were you, said George, I should bend a hairpin in the shape of a fish hook and tie it onto a piece of string and try and fish the ring out with it. So Mrs. Little found a piece of string and a hairpin, and for about a half hour she fished for the ring. But it was dark down the drain, and the hook always seemed to catch on something before she could get down to where the ring was. What luck? Inquired Mr. Little, coming to the bathroom. No luck at all, said Mrs. Little. The ring is so far down I can't fish it up. Okay, so we see where we're going with this. Now, what we can do to start mixing this is we can actually move these in to create a little bit more fluid interaction with the conversation. So now listen to it. What had I better do? She cried, trying to keep the tears back. If I were you. And see how that works? Those little pauses and adjustments that we have, we get rid of those pretty easily. And we can move all these in, and we kind of condense the story, but it gets us past all those little pauses. George, I should bend a hairpin in the shape of a fish hook and tie it onto a piece of... Okay, now that we've got into that, now we can start distinguishing the voices. What we'll do here, this is Mother. We'll give her Epic Diva. We'll try that. And what we'll do over here is we'll give her a little bit of a higher pitch. And then we'll go down here to Mr. Little, and we'll give him a little bit of a lower pitch, and keep the narration the same, and we'll see how that sounds.
What had I better do?
She cried, trying to keep the tears back. If I were you, said George. All right. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounded a little crazy to me. her voice. So what we can do to change that is I like the pitch. I just don't like the voice. So we'll pick up this one and we'll see what that sounds like.
What had I better do?
Alright, not doing it for me yet. Maybe our pitch is too high. We'll bring that down a hair.
What had I better do?
Alright, so you can see what we're doing here. The pitch we can adjust and do some things from there. But that's just to give us a start, and then we'll continue on from there, making some adjustments and see what we come up with.